Welcome to today's video. I'm the Hooded Lid and I have some new products today. Fenty came out with two new palettes, 9 and 10, and a new lip. Now these color stories are completely different from each other, so I think I'm probably just going to do one today and do another one on Monday. But this is 9 and kind of rocking my world. Online, this worried me a little bit because this color looked purple, and I'm not very good with purple. I don't know why. But this looks more wine, and this looks more wine, which is different than purple. Right now, we're going to talk about number 10 because, well, I love a green. I'm beginning to think greens are actually hard to do because there's not a matte deep green in here. This is not a matte. In fact, there's only 2 mattes in here. Let's swatch. Fat pockets, need receipts, time is money. This, my friends, is what we have. I love an apple green. I love an apple green, and that is the matte in this row. Rubber bands, direct deposit, flash money. And the brown is the other matte. Now I just love this color story. I just do. I really like these 2 greens. Well, and this green and that green. The gold, but I think we all know that green and gold go together really, really well. So I did play with these yesterday because I have a tendency to do that. And I discovered something kind of interesting. This color here really didn't have much to it. I put it on and I thought, oh, nice, nice. And like 5 minutes later, it was like, what happened to this? And I had used my regular, this is my regular kind of thing. I love my Smith brushes, and this I use for blending, and this, blah. I did it again using some of my Sonia G brushes, and I found that it was much, much better. So, I'm just revealing something kind of big, which is some of these shades. Let's just take my fluffy and we'll go into rubber bands. Rubber bands. And we shall recede the hood. And then I shall tell you about a new discovery that I made today. And wipe that off and blend. Blend, 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 blend. Alright, so I was sitting in the living room waiting to feel a little cooler. Sometimes I can feel like the heat rises and I'm like, I'm about to sweat. Don't breathe. Don't do anything. Don't insert yourself. Don't even think too hard. And I might be able to not sweat because I do have my foundation on. So I have my laptop in my lap where it belongs. And for some reason, this Jennifer Garner thing was one of the things that came up. I thought, okay, I'll do that. And it says Jennifer Garner, like fake cooking show. And I thought, well, is this real or is this really her? Indeed, it is really her. And it's a series of 24 videos, and I sure hope that she continues them. And I think it's really kind of COVID related, like something to do. I don't know, because I only saw like 3 or 4 of them. Something to do while there's nothing to do, kind of a thing. They're hysterical. She is actually as adorable as you think. It's absolutely real and sincere, and I love that. And it's just funny, and it's funny and informative. They're only like 4 minutes long. There's nothing longer than 5 that I've looked at, which is great, but you can still get the idea of what she's doing. And most of what she's doing is baking. And I'm really not a baker, but it's so fun just to watch. And I think part of the reason it's so fun is they're really short. So go look for it. It's Garner-ish, I think is what it's called. And it's just a great way to pass a couple of minutes out of your day. I'm going in with this, which is often what I do with the lid, and I'm going to do this color here, whose name I already forgot. And it is a light color, but it's also light pigmentation. Yes, I know I have the brown on, but I didn't have this much brown on last night when I was playing, and I was having the very same issue. See how it's lighter in color when you first put it on and then you blend it out? Gosh, this reminds me of something. I had something else that did the same thing. It goes on lighter and when you blend it out it gets darker. And I just want this on the mobile lid. There you go. So that one actually worked okay. I was going to go in with a more dense brush, but I'm going to do the other side and I shall be right back. Alright, so it's a little higher on this side than this side because this side is much messier. It's much more hooded. I have a fat pad, so whenever I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling the lid, and I open my eyes, I'm like, oh wow, it's much higher than I expected. We're going to clean up this stuff too. But there's step 2. Now before I go in any more, I want to blend, 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 blend. Alright, so if you wanted to, this could be a one and done. You're not getting much of a green look out of this because, well, if you're hooded like me, because you can't see my little lid. But if you're a normal person and you're not hooded, you can probably see that green. Like, let's pretend I'm not hooded. And that could be quite pretty for a daily look. But we're going to do something else. So now we're going to go into the one that was a bit of a problem for me yesterday, but we're going to do it with the brush that I find is working. And I'm going to show you a technique I just kind of discovered. I'm going to put my finger like right here, and I may not be doing this right because I did it with a mirror right here, but I can't do it with this mirror because I have to hold this mirror. But I find for me, I've mentioned before, I like to do like a reverse V. If I put my finger here, it kind of gives me that reverse V sketch. See? So now when I open my eyes, instead of having a normal V like this, when I open my eyes it would pull everything down. It's not pulling everything down. It's kind of genius, and I will show it to you in greater detail when I look at the wine colored one. But I got a perfect little freaking high wing. It's a little too high, but I'm freaking in love. And I brought it down here as well. So if you want to, you can bring it a little bit further down. Like. Now I'm going to go in with this lighter, avocado color. This is like the inside of an avocado. And I'm going to do about the inner third. Bring it up a little bit so it meets with that darker green. And mind you, if I didn't bring that brown all the way down, the color would probably remain a little more avocado, but I have that brown underneath it, so it's going a teeny bit more khaki, which is fine. You can play around with it any way you want. And now I'm going to go into this shade, which I think is Direct Deposit, and I'm going to kind of put that in between the avocado color and that darker green color. So there's a little bit of an ombre from one to the other. Again, this idea would work so well if you're not hooded. It's very, very subtle, I have to say. And then we have the gold. Oh, I forgot to do this eye. Okay. That's okay. Let's talk about the gold. Now the gold you could put right here if you wanted to, or you can make it stand out a little bit and put it right down here, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Boom. Let me finish the other eye and I will be right back. I'm back. A little mascara, a little brows. I use the Venetian Rose in the M, and I cannot pronounce this, in the Hermes. And I do think it's successful as a look. It's certainly not an everyday look because the colors are so dark. Maybe it's more of a holiday look. But I do want to mention a couple of things. When I tried these, as I said earlier, with brushes that are not as dense, it took a while to get the payoff, and initially I got payoff and it just kind of fell away. And when I was putting on my mascara, I noticed already I'm getting a bald spot right here, not so much on here. Now this is where my fat pad is, and I have this problem with some shadows, but not all. So the Natasha Denona Metropolis, those greens in there, that cream to powder formulation, or the powder to cream, whatever it is, just totally rubbed off in that area on both of my eyes, and I've only had this on for a short while. So if you're very hooded and you get that rub between the lids, this might not stay. On the other hand, my eyes are open most of the time when I'm talking to people, and that's what really matters. But as far as the powders go, I think they're pretty good. Are they Denona? No. Are they Pat McGrath? No. But they're not bad. You just have to have the right tools for them. And I find that these, not that one, these more dense brushes from Sonia G were more effective for me. So this is the one that I used on this green. You can definitely use the one I just dropped on the floor, but here's its bigger brother on the green that is matte. The mattes are fine, but when it comes to the shimmers, you want to be more dense to really get this to go. And of course you can use your finger, but when you're doing this kind of outline here with the darkest shade, you need something a little more dense. So they're a teeny bit tricky. These are such a nice little deal. You know about these. They're called the snaps, and well, somehow you snap them, they click together, and they'll travel with you, but I don't have my glasses on, so I just can't say how they work. But they do, because I've seen other people do it. But that's the idea, you know, you snap them together and you can travel with them. You can get an entire look out of them. And I have to say also, have I been saying that a lot in the last few minutes? That if you're just starting out in makeup, whether you are young and you're starting out, or you're older and you're coming back to makeup, or just starting out, and you don't understand color relationships, and when you get a palette that has 17, 18, 20, 30, 40 shades in it, you just don't know what to do with it. 6 shades is really, really doable, and you don't have to use all 6. But the color stories that she has for these Snap Shadows, I think are really solid and very beginner friendly. And that is going to wrap up my slightly retro. I'm feeling a little 60s, I'm feeling a little early 70s, a little, the original Airport, remember that one? That's what I'm feeling a little bit. Reminding myself of that, just a teeny bit. But I do like it. And I like the green that I got. Oddly enough, I find that green shadows do not bring out the green in my hazel eyes. It makes my eyes look a little more olive. So there's that. I wasn't planning on coming back, honestly, but as I was editing, you know, sometimes I get tired when I edit, so I go to look to see if there's any new videos up, and there was. Mariah Leonard, who I follow, had done this, and I really like the look that she came up with, so I'm going to see if I can kind of do that. I've turned my fan down a little bit, and I'm wearing one of these wet things, which, you know, you can't tell I'm wearing a wet thing, right? And yes, I am doing a peel on my chest. I'm sorry for that, but this heat is just too unbearable. So I'm going to see if I can get the same kind of look. She put the apple green right through here. Just pretty sheer. And just pulled it out. And when she pulled it out, the yellowness kind of came out. Not quite getting that, but cool. Mariah has a really interesting way of applying shadows. That's one of the reasons I like to watch her, but her eye shape is very different than mine, and her coloring is really different than mine. But she's lately been doing, she doesn't post very often, but she's been doing these pastel eyes, and she's often the reason why I'm like, I want to do a pastel eye, because she can do a pastel eye, and it just works so pretty on her. It does not work very well on me, unfortunately. All right, so this is kind of what she got. It looked a little bit different on her. And then she went in with this color here on the outer, and she used kind of a fluffy brush. I'm going to go in with this one. She found it to be very pigmented and changed her brush to something less dense. And as I said, when I first put it on, I was like, ooh, okay. I felt like I needed to go in with a more dense brush because it kind of fell off. And she put it on the outer corner, like so, and brought it in a little bit to hook up a little bit with that first green. And again, it looked different on her, but I have these developing wrinkles right here, and I'm just going to kind of push that into the wrinkle zone. Holy tamale, it is so hot. It's only 9 o'clock and I am, I thought it might be cooler today, but I was wrong. Then she went in with this color right next to that one, and the idea is just to have them meld into each other. So you get a little movement there. All right, and then she went in with the brown shade. I'm going to use the same brush, but I'm just going to turn it around. And she put it on the inner lid. Now I think, honestly, you could just leave this alone instead of doing this. And she didn't want to blend it because she didn't want it to go too far out. And this lays down really nicely. But if your clothes set at all, you probably don't want to do that. I'm taking a small blender, so it's just like the one I used for here, but smaller, with this gold. And she worked this on the inner and then above the first green. Apple green, and went like that. And this is pretty much what she did. Now, for me, just looking in this mirror that's, an arm's length away, it is the same kind of look I got, which is, it's still reading fall to me, but it's much more wearable because I didn't pound on that darker color, and I just put it on with a blender and kind of pushed it into the wrinkle zone. And it's perfectly nice. Does it look like what she got though? I don't think so. But I am going to put on some mascara, do my brows, do some under eyes, do some lips, do the whole thing, and then we'll come back and take a look. All right, I am back. I've done a little bit of bronzer with my Tarte Sea Breeze. I did a little bit of blush with the Jill Stewart. I did a video on some Jill Stewart products a couple weeks ago, and I did the lip. I still went for the orangey thing, but I did it with something that's a little more balmy and from the drugstore, and I'm going to pull you in so you can get a better look. And here we go. Eyes open, eyes closed, a little turning around. I do feel that her look was a little more, this looks like fall to me, and her look ended up looking a little more pastel-y, a little more spring, and that just could have something to do with her settings, or her eye color, or her skin color, or her hair color. But I still think it's really pretty. So there's a different way to go on this one, and this is probably a little more wearable than the look I did. And that is what's so fun about YouTube, is following some people who apply things a little differently than you would. Even if they don't have the same kind of eyes as you. Another person I love to watch because of her application, but she doesn't do it all the time, but sometimes she will do different looks with palettes, one on one eye, one on the other eye, and just give you some solid ideas, and that is Alicia at Kinky Sweat. So there's two people who I think offer some good ideas. Neither of them are hooded, so it's really about color combinations. And if that's something you struggle with, and where to put things. And Lucy is having some allergies. You good, baby girl? Mm-hmm. Good girl. And now I'm going to pull you out. Now I'm kind of digging that my fan is moving my hair around. I feel like a 70s supermodel. So this is the whole look, just pulled back a little bit, and I think it's more approachable for sure than what I did. And you know what? This might be actually so approachable. It might be better than some of the other green palettes I have. So I also have the Fenty in Cadet, but it's more mustardy and khaki in its color, and this is more apple green, more yellow in it, except for this color at the end. I feel like it has some blue in it. Just give you a little look at that one again. It depends on how the light is hitting it. Right here, no, it's kind of like, spruce green. That spruce green has a teeny bit of blue in it. I think that's what this is. Yesterday afternoon, it looked more blue, so it kind of depends on the time of day and how the light is hitting it. But there you have it. Next time we will do the number 9. And I'm really looking forward to this. This is incredibly fall. Could be a little goth, but let's see how we can do with it. I hope it was helpful to you, and I hope you come back again. Until we meet again, be safe and smart, and I'm wishing you good health.